This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I am one of your hosts, Tom.
And I am Tim.
Tim, how are you doing this week?
Tom, I'm in a good mood. How are you doing?
Good. I'm in a good mood, too.
Great.
See you next week. I wanted to talk about, even though this isn't really topical, this is something that I've recently gone down a rabbit hole about. No.
Makes me nervous.
Tim, do you know about men's rights? No. Do you know... All right, everybody knows that Harrison Ford's a bad pilot, right?
I mean, he's a better pilot than either of us.
No, that is categorically untrue. How many planes have you crashed?
Yeah, but how many planes have you gotten into the air? They won't even let me in a cockpit. He can.
What if it's your birthday?
Still, it's. I'm on the no-fly list. I'm not allowed on any planes, to be honest.
So here's.
I snuck a lighter onto a plane.
Did you?
No, I hear it's pretty easy though.
All right. Where'd you hear that?
Somebody who accidentally snuck a lighter and a big knife onto a plane one time.
Was it Crocodile Dundee?
Yeah.
You know that carries around a big knife and a lighter.
Well, a lighter. I feel like everybody I know smokes because they're cool.
So everybody knows that like Harrison Ford crashed that plane on the runway, that like biplane.
Yeah.
And then he almost crashed a plane.
He did crash a plane into a golf course.
Oh, that's what I meant.
And then
the
he
golf course. He
yeah.
tried to land on the departure lane in the airport.
Right. That still doesn't make him a bad pilot.
No, but here's
it makes him a bad pilot, but it
listen.
doesn't make us better pilots than him. How many planes have you ever flown? I don't even know what any of those instruments do.
They've got to take away all this guy's licenses because that's like we're not getting the whole story here, and this is what I found out.
You're right. This is not topical.
He also crash landed a helicopter in 1999 and was forced to perform an emergency landing the following year at a Beechcraft Bonanza at Nebraska's Lincoln Airport. Lincoln,
there was a
Lincoln
beach
Municipal
blast at
a Beechcraft, which is a type of aircraft.
Oh, okay.
But then he said the incident gave him an opportunity to buy a new airplane. The airplane he crashed, he was getting lessons on how to fly it when he crashed it.
Well, that's a bad teacher situation.
Yeah,
you can't blame
teacher.
Harrison Ford.
But you can't be like,
you can't blame this 6-year-old doesn't know how to do math. What an idiot. No, who's teaching him how to do math?
It gave me an opportunity to buy a new helicopter after I crashed the one I've flown 3 times. That one was old and worn out. But so before I get to other things here, the time he almost crashed in L.A., have you seen what the plane he was flying looks like?
No.
You've been in a plane like this.
Oh, really?
It was a big plane. This is not like...
An A320?
It wasn't an A320.
A Dreamliner?
It wasn't a Dreamliner.
Was it the Concorde? I only fly the Concorde, Tub.
Well, you haven't flown in a while then.
No, they make special flights for me.
It was like the size of a Concorde, though.
No, it wasn't.
It was. It was a big plane. It was like bigger than if you saw this plane and somebody told you, oh, this is so-and-so's private plane. You'd be like, holy cow, that's a big plane for a private plane.
That guy must be rich. He must be a movie star or something.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Harrison Ford? Yeah, that makes sense.
And then he almost landed on a plane full of people and said, am I not meant to be on this runway?
Man.
Harrison Ford's equivalent of, did I do that? And here's my question. This might be, I'm going to cut you off because I think this might be what you're asking. How many people do you think Harrison Ford would have to kill for it to be like, we can't watch Star Wars anymore?
I don't know. We still watch the Twilight Zone movie.
That was only 2 people that John Landis killed.
3.
Oh, 3. Yeah,
yeah,
it was 3.
And 2 of them were children.
Yeah,
and
he had 2
here's
kids.
Here's my concern here. If you are on a plane, like...
I mean, in fairness, John Landis hasn't worked in a very long time.
That's true. But Michael Jackson was like, come do all my videos.
Yeah, exactly. He had to go work with Michael Jackson.
Another murderous creep. That's the one thing Michael Jackson hasn't been accused of, right?
Murder?
Murder?
No, I don't think so. I don't think anybody could see him murdering.
I don't know. You ever see him hear him do his tough guy voice?
When he would call people on the phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was a lie.
So you want to tell what the story was for that for people that don't know?
Michael Jackson, we know to have the high.
Hi, it's me. It's Michael Jackson.
Yeah. But apparently there are tapes that surfaced of him after his death, like him calling people who owed him money and using a decidedly more aggressive, lower toned voice.
It's me, Michael Jackson.
But like, how easy is that to fake? Because like the premise is this sounds nothing like Michael Jackson, but it is. So like you could have any voice there, and people be like, "Well, that's crazy. That doesn't sound anything like Michael Jackson."
Yeah.
Well, I guess I believe it.
Yeah, and it was people that owed him money.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
I feel like a lot of people cheated Michael Jackson out of money.
I feel like he was like, oh, whatever, as long as I can buy a roller coaster.
Yeah. I didn't feel, like freaking Michael Jackson and like Billy Joel take their money. They're not going to do anything worthwhile with it.
Well, that's the only way
Billy
you can
Joel's just going to be like, oh, I'm going to buy some Long Island pizza.
That's the only way you can get Billy Joel back
I'll buy another motorcycle.
back to Madison Square Garden every month, Tim. You got to pay the man.
Yeah. That's a guy. He doesn't fly his own helicopter from his estate to Madison Square Garden, right?
No, he has a man that does it for him.
Yeah. No. Okay, so if you... Sorry, stay on topic here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Harrison
stay on
Ford.
this newsworthy
How many
topic
people
we're talking
does
about.
Harrison Ford have to kill?
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Why? Well, that's what I'm asking. That's what America's asking.
I think until like we stop watching his movies...
Yeah.
A million. It needs to be genocide. For people to be like, I don't like Star Wars anymore.
Yeah.
It's got to be like it's got to be 9/11 style.
That's 3,000 people. I'm saying if he crashed into like a full, how many people does like an A320 seat?
I'm gonna say maybe
Like 200, 300-ish?
yeah, let's say 200-ish. Yeah.
If he killed everyone on one of those planes, if he killed 300 people,
Yeah,
you
but-
don't think that would be enough to not watch the old Star Wars and Indiana Jones anymore? Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones.
Okay, so you're saying 300 people wouldn't watch Indiana Jones anymore?
If his co-pilot was Mark Hamill, then we're just like, oh
Right.
man, yeah,
Oh,
no, this
come
is
on.
ruining it. Yeah.
Where do you think the line is where they would release re-edited versions of Star Wars without Harrison Ford in them?
I feel like they're gonna do that anyway, right?
Why?
Because like in like 10 years when here's what's going to happen with the Star Wars franchise, Tom. They're going to keep making the same goddamn movie, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, it's the same thing retread. And then the nostalgia freaks will be like, you know what, I'm out because
Yeah.
like I don't know what's going on here. But then they're going to get a bright idea and it's going to dovetail with the technological advances, and they're going to be like, why don't we re-release the movie that everybody likes, that all the nostalgia heads like,
Yeah.
the nostalgia freaks, but also we'll cast all the people that the young kids like, or we'll graft their faces and bodies
What?
onto
what
all
the
them.
hell are you talking
They'll
about?
digitally replace Harrison Ford with like Channing Tatum,
They're
right?
not- you think that the kids are going to like Channing Tatum in 20 years?
I'm
Like,
saying the 10
no,
years
we'll
from
put a
that.
50-year-old man's
The
face
20
on this 26-year-old man's face.
The 2027 version of Channing Tatum. They'll just be like, and then
Jaden Smith.
no, he's not. He's not. He's gonna be too old too.
No, yeah, he'll be too old.
He'll be old hat at that point, right?
He'll be old
like
Jaden.
he'll be like running Google or something. Oh no, he won't. He'll be probably. Anyway, what are we talking about here? All I'm saying is everybody's always going to like Star Wars. And maybe they'll digitally replace Harrison Ford, but what can Harrison Ford, spoiler alert, killed his wife in What Lies Beneath, and everybody still likes him?
But he didn't kill his wife in The Fugitive.
That's true.
He said it
I don't
over and
believe
over
him.
again.
I don't believe him.
Well, to be honest, I don't care.
All right, Tom. If you were on that plane...
I want to bring up one more thing before that
Jeepers
plane.
Creepers, okay.
He says crashing a plane is like a fender bender with a car. Then the scar on his so he says, "Oh, it's nothing. It's just like crashing a car. It's a fender bender. It's no big deal." But then in a separate interview, he said The scar on his face that lends him his rakish look. Rakish? Rakish?
I never liked that word.
Yeah.
Never figure it out.
Was earned, he said, in a mundane way. In 1964, he was speeding to a job at a department store in Orange County, California, when his car veered off the road and into a telephone pole as he fumbled for his seatbelt. That's not like he's like, oh, yeah, it's just like a fender bender. Oh, you mean like the time you crashed your car for no reason because you were fumbling with a seatbelt?
See, I can now.
Put your seatbelt on before you start the car, idiot.
Well,
I'm about to get into a crash.
This makes sense, Tom.
Yeah.
Because like his whole perception of everything is skewed.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So like that's actually more forgivable to me. Where it's like if he thinks that's a fender bender, if he thinks that's a mundane occurrence,
yeah,
of course he's gonna think crashing a plane is like just a little bit above that.
He has no idea how dangerous planes are.
Yeah, I mean he's walked away every time.
Exactly. I mean, and why shouldn't he? He's always been fine.
Yeah, I'm just saying like if a loved one was on a plane and Harrison Ford landed another plane on top of that plane and crushed your loved one, how bummed would you be that like within 36 minutes there's going to be 1,000 Twitter jokes about the death of your, like it's not even like the, wait 10 years, it's a tragedy.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be on video because everything's on video these days. And it's going to be like, people are going to like be making parody videos of it and stuff.
That's why we got to keep Harrison Ford out of the air. I don't want to deal with any of this.
Yeah. And look, we're all at risk here. Yeah. Because like, he's in the skies. He's above us at all times.
Yeah,
it could just
who knows?
fall on us at any time, anywhere at any time.
And he flies like big private jets. He flies biplanes. You never know what he's going to even come in.
Yeah. Well, there's no defense against Harrison Ford, so you just have to live your life and just go about your life, live every day like it's your last, because Harrison Ford could crash a plane on your head anytime.
Tim, this week's a monumental week, a historic week.
It is.
This is, and actually we're recording this on a Thursday. This is literally the 10th anniversary of the day the first iPhone was released. Internet phone.
The day that changed the world.
The day that changed the world.
For like the worst, I'd argue.
Well, you know what, Tim? We've got 45 minutes to get into it because I spent 15 minutes talking about Harrison Ford's plot.
Again, the hottest news.
Yeah. So we're going from super irrelevant to super relevant.
I mean, it's semi-relevant.
I bet in the time that we're going to record, Harrison Ford's going to fucking fly into the ocean and kill himself, and we're going to have to throw this whole episode out.
Why?
Why what?
Why would we do that?
Because they would look disrespectful. If Harrison Ford killed himself in a plane, and we're not talking about Harrison Ford anymore, the iPhone.
No, but what I would say is, like, here, everybody be quiet. A quick note to our listeners. This episode was recorded on June 29th, 2017. Days before the untimely death of actor Harrison Ford.
Actor/pilot.
Okay,
Ford.
Cool. And then we'll just cut that and we'll put that at the beginning. And then nobody can get mad at us.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you want to do another one if he dies another way?
Yeah.
I don't like talking about people dying, especially old people.
Yeah. Harrison Ford's up there.
Yeah. And I don't want anybody to die.
No, I don't want him to. I want him to stop flying so he doesn't die.
Yeah. Well, not
or
that
kill anyone else.
Exactly.
I mean, mostly kill anyone else because it's a miracle that he hasn't yet.
Yeah. I'm worried about Ally McBeal's life. She's probably flying with him all the time too, right?
Yeah. You know what? Not to get off on it. Oh God, why are we still talking about this? But she had to get written off of Supergirl when they moved from LA to Vancouver. She could have just had Harry fly her back and forth.
It's true. I could see him being like, I'm not doing that for you.
Like hell, I'll do it. Get off my plane.
I told you you're not allowed to have a career anymore.
Yeah.
Now go buy me a new replacement earring so I look young and relevant still.
And get David Blaine out of my house.
Tom?
Yeah.
The iPhone. A device that's changed your life.
Mm-hmm.
It's changed my life.
Mm-hmm.
I'd wager to say it's changed most people's lives.
Even if you don't have one, it's affected everything.
And this week on the Complete Guide to Everything, we're taking a look back at the 10th anniversary of the iPhone. And then we'll play some important sounding music here.
Maybe some from Coldplay. We'll play under here.
Oh yeah, what did Coldplay have going on in 2007?
I think the Clocks was at the top of the charts.
No.
What? No? Was Clocks before?
Clocks was before, man.
You know what though? You can always bring out Clocks when something's important.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't need to sing it. It's probably playing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know any Coldplay song after Clocks, so it'll have to be Clocks.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this Complete Guide to Everything retrospective, the iPhone 10th anniversary.
Tim, how many intros to this episode are you recording?
No. I said the intro. We played the music, and now I come in.
But then you also did, just in case Harrison Ford kills himself or other people.
No, this is going to be in the normal.
We'll cut it
order.
all out. So if none of this does happen, nobody will know.
The 10th anniversary of the iPhone doesn't happen? That'll happen.
It's already happened.
Yeah, it's happening right now.
It's here. We're in it.
There's crowds in the street setting off fireworks, being like, happy 10th birthday, iPhones.
Yeah. Everybody's out there kissing their iPhones, like that famous V-Day picture.
Kissing their iPhones on Snapchat.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Kissing their iPhones when their iPhones don't want to be kissed in Times Square.
Tom, the year was 2005. After being unceremoniously kicked out of her third wave ska band, No Doubt, Gwen Stefani was topping the pops with her hit song about being hollered at by girls. American Idol winner and the girl from the acclaimed film From Justin to Kelly, Kelly Clarkson, was tearing up the charts with her sad song, Since You Been Gone, a heartfelt tribute to the recently departed American poultry farmer Frank Perdue. Steve Jobs, a computer man who was the CEO of Apple Computers, a computer company based out of Cupertino, California, had a big idea. He dreamed of making a BlackBerry phone mixed with an iPod that also had maps and stocks and other things on it. Also, his dream device would allow large corporations and governments to track your every move and listen to all your private conversations at will. Mr. Jobs launched a secret project called Project Purple 2, and then they invented the iPhone. It came out in 2007. It held 4 gigabytes of data.
There was an 8 gig model too.
Yeah, but the first one had 4 gigs.
No, there was 4 and 8.
Oh. I'll amend that.
And it was 2007.
Yeah, no, in 2005 is when they started Project Purple 2, Tom. God damn it, do your research for these things.
I mean, there were a few other, I think, inconsistencies.
That's what I said. It said it came out in 2007. Held 4 gigabytes of data.
Stop paying. Well, I heard your misstatement, and I just couldn't get past it.
It wasn't a it was a true statement that it had 4 gigabytes of data. Another one had 8.
Or
one of the options was 4 gigabytes of data.
Yes.
And then the rest is history.
Yeah. And here
Whatever
we are
happened
now.
to Steve Jobs?
Who knows? Whatever happened to the iPhone?
Lost to history.
Lost to the tides of time.
Now, Tom, I remember this. Tom,
Yeah.
we knew each other at the time.
Yeah, we were living together, Tim.
Don't reveal that much on the podcast,
We were
Tom.
live-in lovers.
We were roommates. We were roommates.
Us and 2 other people were living. It was
an unconventional setup.
It was a polyamorous situation.
But I recall, Tom, That was a whirlwind spring. When did they announce it? March?
No, they announced it in January
Oh.
at Macworld that year.
Okay, Tom. I'm going to let you take over because I started making a lot of notes for this episode, and then I was like, Tom just remembers all this off the top of his head.
I don't want to like go through like, and then this happened, then this happened.
Why not?
Because
How are people
know
going to
that.
learn?
Yeah,
People don't know that. You know that.
yeah, and I'm people, man.
I would argue that you're the devil.
What were you gonna say though about you remembering?
So you were so excited about this, Tom.
Yeah.
All right.
it was
So he announced it. What was the announcement like? So like, was this the first thing where it was like the real reality distortion field? Steve Jobs at his
this was
peak.
the height of it. This
Yeah.
was the when he announced we're unveiling a touchscreen iPod, a mobile phone, and an internet communicator. And guess what? We're not doing three things, you idiots. Just
Oh,
one.
that's what he said. He called everybody idiots because he did think everybody was idiots.
Yeah,
you know
and
he's
he's
a big
right.
acid head. He was a drug addict.
Yeah, acid head. He wasn't addicted to acid.
I don't know. I've heard conflicting
I don't
accounts.
think anybody's addicted to acid.
Wavy Gravy probably is.
That's true. But Tim,
Well, he's addicted to the lifestyle, I guess. Wavy
thought-
Gravy, not Steve Jobs.
No, I thought you were talking about the ice cream.
The ice cream was named after a great man.
The man was made out of ice cream.
Yeah. He's made out of gravy, you dope. Still is to this day. Okay, so anyway,
Yeah.
Steve Jobs, are there rumors before this happens?
Yeah,
He
there were
takes the stage?
rumors that that Apple was working on a phone.
Did people know it's called the internet phone?
People assumed, well, iPod, iMac, everything. It's going to be an iPhone.
So it's the same company that made the iPod that made the iPhone?
Yeah, a lot
Okay.
of people don't know that, but it's the same company.
It makes sense now. It's buried in like paperwork if
Yeah.
you go to the
Well,
Library of Congress.
And like, it's come out now because a lot of these Apple people are talking, like, the people who were involved in the beginning, that they're like,
Steve were alive. You'd never let that happen.
well,
Don't talk to the press. I'll ruin you.
No, it's people. Well,
I'll ruin you and your family.
it's people that are no longer with Apple, but yeah, he still probably would have threatened them.
Yeah.
What was your question?
That if people had a sense that...
Oh yeah. I can see your expression.
I'll play into the room, Tom.
People figured out like, okay, they're working on a phone. The phone's going to be called an iPhone.
Right.
But
did they have any idea that it would be a touchscreen device?
No.
Like that in the Star Trek films.
There were rumors that there was going to be a touchscreen iPod, like a widescreen iPod, because iPods had somewhat recently moved into video.
Boy, howdy. I remember walking into an Apple store that you, I think, were the owner of.
I was working at.
Oh, you were working at the iPod store in the mall.
Mm-hmm.
And
Tim, that gave me flashbacks. You have no idea how many people called it the iPod store.
yeah, I know. I
When I
remember
worked there,
you
I
would come
hated
home
it.
from work. I'd be making dinner, just trying.
Just trying to keep everything
Yeah, I
under
was
the...
like, "How was your day, Tom?" And you're like, "All these people are just coming in here, calling it a goddamn iPod store.
Yeah.
We're more than just fucking iPods, goddamn it."
And this turkey's dry.
Yeah,
You idiot. I work all day for you to cook a dry turkey for me to eat at
I'm
night.
just trying to make you happy, Tom. I'm doing my best
Well,
here.
it didn't work.
Kids are screaming all day.
Yeah.
Got a colicky baby.
Yeah, so I mean that's the thing. Like they saw, oh shit, people are just gonna start listening to music on their phones. We better make a phone.
They tried doing that, right?
Well, the Motorola Rocker.
My favorite thing that ever happened is that video. Has that been scrubbed? I was looking for that today.
Oh no, that's where Steve Jobs is mad on stage.
Yeah, Steve Jobs is what is he? He's demonstrating like the Apple and Motorola got together and made
Right.
the phone, the rocker phone.
Well, Motorola made the phone, but then it had basically like an iPod application integrated into it.
I've never seen anybody so poorly masking his extreme anger than
Yeah, and
Steve
disdain.
Jobs on stage in front of everybody talking about how great this thing is, and then it just completely beefs in front of everybody. It just doesn't work. He's like, well, you can
imagine.
Is that what he says?
Something like that, I think.
Yeah, you can tell. Like, he
Well-
murdered somebody.
Well, which is amazing because
How many people did Steve Jobs murder?
nobody knows for sure.
Who murdered more people, Steve Jobs or Hillary Clinton?
So the phone, that rocker phone, it's crazy that failed during his like keynote there, because that was like a very quick, they showed it off and like they were just like, look, it looks like an iPod and then plays music. Because that first iPhone, which it came out obviously the end of June, but it was showed off in early January, and they like jerry rigged this thing together, and we're like, oh, like this might crash 50 different ways.
Right.
When you're showing it off, but it worked. It held together, and the Motorola phone that was like coming out that week didn't.
Those beefers.
I've never seen one of those phones IRL.
No.
But that was, people have said since, they're like, well, we figured if people are going to listen to it, we'll make an app for phones that can only play like 1,000 songs or whatever, 100 songs maybe, 100 songs I think it was. And then that will convince people to buy an iPod.
Little trickery.
Little taste.
Treachery.
We'll give them a little taste, and then we'll get them in on the iPod.
Okay, so so he announces this. Looking back, it was only 10 years. Look, the way I think about it, Tom, I remember when Radiohead's In Rainbows came out, right? 7707, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that doesn't seem that long ago to me.
Right.
But then I look at the offerings on this iPhone.
Uh-huh.
This thing's a piece of junk.
Yeah, the
this
first
is
iPhone
garbage.
stunk.
This is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
What was it? It didn't have an app store.
App store.
You can
No.
keep track of the Apple stock, right?
There was no app store. It couldn't record video. It was only a 2G connection or
2G.
Wi-Fi, which actually at that point was a big deal for a phone to be able to connect.
Well,
to
why
Wi-Fi.
wouldn't I just get an
There were
iPad?
only one or two. iPads weren't out yet, Tim.
Fair. Okay, fair point. Okay, all right. What else? What could it do? What was the ground? It did. It was touchscreen was great. Oh, touchscreen. Get your dirty mitts all. Get your feces covered hands all over your
mitts all over this
friggin'
phone.
thing. Okay.
And
if anybody ever hands you their phone, decline.
Yeah, they're using that on the pooper.
Yeah. Look, we're all doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's probably good, right?
What?
Then you don't have to get vaccinated.
Tim, once again, you
just let your babies play with strangers' iPhones.
Yeah, and they'll build up a natural immunity.
Yeah. I hear they're doing that in kindergartens in California.
They're doing the pox parties.
Yeah, and they're just letting everybody play with everybody's feces-covered smartphones.
Yeah, my phone does not have...
It does.
I wipe it off.
With what?
My butt. I guess you're right.
Yeah.
You know what?
That right there leads me to believe that there's probably some fecal matter on the phone.
Yeah, I've been doing this all wrong.
Yeah.
God.
Is it a problem that I keep knocking you off your train of thought?
Yeah.
Considering you've consumed 3 6-packs worth of Blue Point Summer Ale today.
3 6-packs. I just keep forgetting my train of thought because I have something like really great to say, and then you're like, duh, 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 duh.
I'm providing a public service. Don't touch other people's phones. They'll get their poop on your hands.
Yeah, that's true.
And you
Tim,
rub your eyes.
I remember. So the first iPhone you got was for a while. You didn't get the first iPhone. I don't think you even got the second iPhone.
No, I was very proud of my flip phone.
Yeah, you had a phone that had an ice cream cone on it.
Yeah,
for a long time.
I mean, on the screen.
On
I
the
had
screen,
a little icon.
It was an electronic ice cream.
Here's
phone.
the thing: I got so good at T9 typing text.
Texting. Yes,
that I was like, I've learned this skill. What am I just gonna like?
Throw the skill away?
Yeah,
before
it's like
I've...
You know, like how coal miners are like, send me back into the coal mines. And they're
that's
like,
what
no.
I know how to do.
Yeah, it's like, no, we'll train you on this new the renewable energy, and it's a lot better. And they're like, no, fuck it. I want to live underground. They have to live down there? I don't know. I don't know anything about coal mining,
They
Tom.
don't have to live down there, but if they want to, it helps their careers a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's how you get ahead.
I mean,
You got to do what you got to do.
It's a lot shorter commute. So, what was the first iPhone you got? The 3GS?
I don't know.
Maybe? I don't know. What did it look like?
It looked like an iPhone.
It didn't look like the one you have now.
It was flat.
They were all flat.
All right.
That one time they had a big, it was just like a ball.
I don't know. Okay. It was flat.
Uh-huh.
The screen didn't like have great resolution.
Yeah, so it was either 3G or 3GS.
Okay. It wasn't a 3G.
So it was a 3GS.
Sure.
By process of elimination.
Well, I don't know that it wasn't the 4, Tom.
What? What do you mean it wasn't before?
I don't know if it was the 4.
Oh,
like
the 4.
Yeah.
No, they
I'm
have
not
No, I
Tom,
think
I'm not like you. I don't like keep I don't.
you're not smart like me. is what you
Exactly.
mean to say.
I don't have an accounting in my head of like every device and piece of technology I've ever bought.
Well, there have been times.
Disposable to me, Tom. I'm so rich. I buy 5 of everything and I decide what I want to bring out of the house that day.
It's actually there have been times, and that's true, where like you've had newer iPhones than me.
Yeah, that's true. I've now gotten on the cycle that, and this might not be the case with this, but like for a minute, I was on the S cycle.
Shit cycle.
Well, all right. So the releases of these phones bother me a little bit.
What? It's once a year.
But like, so what's the difference between the 4 and the 4S?
Siri.
You know that level of detail?
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, let's go from the beginning.
Okay. Oh, God.
So first it was the iPhone.
Yes.
And what could the iPhone do? It could do nothing.
the big
It
thing
had a
was
web
Safari.
browser. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the
And
first real mobile web browser.
And they lied to everybody and told them that it ran OS X.
It does run OS 10. It's a variation of OS 10, but still Unix.
Yeah, that's a lie. Okay.
Why would they lie about that? Who does that impress that wouldn't know it was a lie?
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Me? I don't know. OS X kind of sounds sexy to me.
OS XC.
Yeah. So then the next one was the 3G. Just there's no 2 in the iPod universe.
There's no
iPhone.
iPhone 2.
Right.
Yeah.
So the 3G. Now, what was the improvement there?
Tim, as the name suggests, it had 3G connectivity.
Okay.
It had a faster chip. Yeah. That might...
You don't know as much as you thought.
Well,
huh?
I forget if it's the 3G that could record video or the 3GS.
Okay. When does the App Store come into play?
App Store comes in with the 3G.
Okay, well that's
But-
you're burying the lead here, Tom.
But the original
It's got a
iPhone...
faster chip.
But the original iPhone was updated to also support the App Store.
Okay,
Which
cool.
was also a big thing. Like before this, like phones didn't get updates.
So you got the first iPhone.
Yes. I worked for Apple at the time, so they gave me one because I was
Wow.
such a good boy.
What was the energy like on the day on June 29th, 2007, 2007. Yo, flag that. We'll cut all that out.
You say it like a spaceman. Start date
I am a human
2007.
living amongst you. What?
I got to see the iPhone like a few hours before the general public.
Wow, that's a real
And
feather
it
in
was-
your cap.
Tim, it was. That's why I wear this feather in my cap.
Oh, that's what that
Yeah,
signifies.
that's what it's for.
Yeah.
That's
It's
why
a
I
nice
wear
looking
this.
I thought it was for fashion because you look fabulous.
I mean, it is a fashionable feather. It's
Yeah.
a big peacock feather. But then if somebody asks, hey, what's that feather about? Oh, I got to see the iPhone a few hours before most people.
Man, that is no. You've learned a lot from that pickup artist book that you bought, huh?
Oh,
And that DVD series that you bought for.
the two biggest changes the past
Yeah.
10 years. I got an iPhone and I watched all those pickup artist videos.
Yeah. Okay. So, so you, but like, I remember like beforehand, like it was ridiculous. I remember somebody that I worked with, a friend of mine at work. I I told her like, oh yeah, my friend works for Apple, and he said like everybody's going nuts over this iPhone that's coming out, and like next thing I know, I'm getting a call from like her family members and her boyfriend. It's like, yo, can you get me to the head of the line at the Apple store the day it comes out? And it's like, I don't know who you are, and what. You'll get it. It's fine. Like they want to sell them. You'll be fine. Like I don't understand the lining up for things. Like wait
so
2
the
weeks.
interesting thing,
Worst case scenario.
Again, to give you a little inside baseball.
Please.
The first iPhone.
It's the name of the podcast.
Because the first iPhone, I think 4 gig was $500 and the 8 gig was $600, or maybe it was 4 and 500, but expensive.
Oh, there was an 8 gig version, huh? I'll have to update my records.
It was expensive, and it was AT&T only, so that was with subsidy. You would still have to.
Subsidy, huh? My tax dollars.
Not your tax, though. Not tax subsidy. Tim.
Oh, okay.
And you know, this was when people got a phone for free, and people didn't think phones cost anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you still have to sign a contract.
Yeah.
But then you have to pay $400 or $500. Those phones, I remember.
Steve Jobs got to have sex with your wife.
Not my wife. We were divorced by then.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
She came back to me.
I mean,
she was my ex-wife, then your wife.
He had sex with her still.
Yeah.
But she wasn't my wife anymore.
Yeah, she was my wife.
She was
at the
your
time.
wife, yeah. What were we talking about? Tim. I gotta go to the memory doctor or something.
Yeah, you do. Or maybe stop drinking 18 beers before we record.
I didn't have 18 beers. I did have 2 whiskeys very quickly.
Yeah. And then 12 beers.
So the first iPhone, there was a line for sure, but because it was expensive, like I remember that being there for the opening, the night ended, and it was like, yeah, we still have iPhones. Like, we'll have iPhones tomorrow morning.
Were you like, dibs. I'll take them. Did you make that joke?
No, because I told you.
I'll take them.
They gave me a free one.
Yeah, but didn't you want another?
No, I didn't. You want to buy another one?
Yeah,
no, they were
me.
$500.
Slaving over a hot stove, waiting for you to come home. Working long hours.
I think I offered
At
to
the iPad
you,
store.
hey, you want an iPhone? Like, I'll buy one for you. And you were like, no, I have an ice cream phone. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, well, you know, good luck getting sexed on that thing. They'll look like an ice cream cone.
Still call my 976 numbers.
And then I was there. I was still working for Apple when the 3G came out.
Wow.
Which was when, I'm not saying it to impress you.
You said it. You puffed up your chest.
I'm saying
You
it.
stroked the peacock's feather in your hat.
Well, I do that anyway. It's a nervous tick.
Yeah.
The 3G was the one where they were like, all right, we're actually going to like subsidize or price it subsidized wise.
Right.
And that was $199. Then
The dam broke.
The dam broke, and I had decided I need to get out of this company. This is insane, because they were just so. I had to walk that. By then I was a manager at an Apple store, so I was like walking the line to
Pump people up. Did you go like, are you ready for some
I went
touch screen fucking.
No, I would have to go to the end of the line and be like, hey, just want to let you guys know where you are in the line now. It's about an 8-hour wait. And then people would scream at me.
Why didn't you guys just put up a sign?
We didn't have the technology
Why
yet.
didn't you just have an
weren't out
iPad
yet.
that said...
iPads weren't out
God
yet.
damn, I keep forgetting.
Yeah, I mean, I went out there with an original iPhone holding, and they were like, we can't see it.
Can't see that.
The
Let me put on my
resolution's so
grandpa-
poor.
Yeah.
But I would have to go out and tell people, like, yeah, and they'd be screaming at me. I'm like, I know it's bullshit. That's why I'm telling you,
So you can go home.
decide.
So you can
to
just get
leave.
outta here, you loser.
Because it is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, you're telling me I have to wait 8 hours for a phone? No, I'm telling you, you shouldn't. Get out of here.
But you said you shouldn't get out of here. And
You shouldn't get out of here. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't put a comma
Yeah.
in between. But that was like the first. But that was, I mean, that line also took forever because that was like because they were being subsidized by AT&T, it wasn't just like, oh, scan it, here you go, activate it at home. It won't work anywhere else. This was like, AT&T's footing part of the cost of this. They want to make sure you got this thing activated before you leave here.
Cool. All right. So
And
3G.
that's what took
now,
forever.
what's the difference between the 3G and the 3GS? Hot shot.
3GS was the first one I could do video.
Ooh, and it had speed.
It
right?
had speed.
Was
It
that what
a
the S
faster
was
one.
for?
Yeah, S for speed.
And then the difference between the 3GS and the 4.
The 4 was the first Retina display, complete redesign with a glass back.
Oh, okay. That was the second one I had. That was my favorite one that I ever had. I
Yeah,
think.
no, that was a great, that was a really nice looking.
And that's when I knew that I was being swindled and that I was susceptible to marketing.
Why? Because you bought something nice that you liked?
No, because the only reason I liked it is because Steve Jobs is like, you know why I like this? It feels like one of those old cameras that I had.
And you were like, I love old cameras.
Because it was like thicker, right?
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, it was thinner.
It was like heavier though.
It was made out of glass and metal, so
Yeah,
it felt premium.
It was like clunkier, right?
Yeah.
It was definitely clunkier. You can't deny that, Tom.
Well, it was like
Talk your way out of this one.
but define clunkier.
It had,
3G
it
and
had it had more of a clunk to it.
Okay. The 3G and the 3GS had plastic backs, and this
Right.
one, and those felt cheap compared to really every other iPhone.
Yeah.
I mean, the 5C is plastic, so that felt.
See, that's where they effed up, man. The 5s. There's the 5C, the 5S, and then they also came out with the SE at some point.
Yeah, but they didn't release all those at the same time, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So the 4 Retina display, way faster processor.
Okay. I got bored with this line of discussion.
4S is Siri. The 5 complete redesign.
5C came in colors.
5C was the plastic. No, yes.
It was
Yes.
the lower priced option.
That came out a year or two later, yeah.
5S was speed.
Yeah.
What is the SE? My mom has that. now-
Special edition.
But my mom has that now. She bought it a couple months ago.
Yeah, that's what makes it special.
And I'm just like, I don't know. I think you bought a knockoff by accident. I think the man at the Verizon store swindled you. And
No,
look,
it's
I learned this family is susceptible to swindling when it comes to phones. I was
Yeah.
swindled by the great Steve Jobs.
Right.
You were swindled by Jake down at the fucking
AT&T store.
AT&T store.
yeah. The SE just came out later. It's basically a 5S with all modern innards.
Okay.
It's got an A9
6,
chip.
6 Plus,
Yeah.
6S, 6S Plus. The Plus got
Yeah,
bigger. I don't care about it. Tom, here's what I want you to do.
What?
You are an insider.
No,
You run the blog Apple Insider. Is this true?
that is not true.
Okay, but you have worked for Apple. Mm-hmm. You read about Apple more than anybody I know. You own $8 to $12 million of Apple stock.
No, not that much.
All
Tim,
right.
you think I'd be doing this if I own that much?
You love hanging out with me. It's your only opportunity.
That's true.
We have a strict look. All those nights of you tossing over your dishes after I slaved over making us dinner.
It's dry.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hang out with you
It's
unless we're getting
raw.
paid for this. No, okay. Look, you're an Apple enthusiast. You've read all the oral histories of everything. One time I said something bad about Johnny Ive, and you fucking jumped down my throat, lectured me for 3 hours about how Johnny Ive is better than my dad. It was like, don't bring my dad into this, Tom.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? My dad's a good guy. Yeah.
It was just to make a point.
Just tell me something about the iPhone that I don't know.
That you don't know.
Do you wish I gave you a heads up on this?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Well, here's something interesting about it, present day, that
This isn't going to be you again saying that Johnny Ive can beat up my dad, is
no,
it?
it's
Okay.
nothing. It's an objective thing.
All right.
During the most recent Christmas quarter, Apple sold slightly fewer than 80 million iPhones. So that breaks down to 900,000 a day. A day has
24 hours.
You got it. 86,400 seconds. So you round up to 90,000 to get a production yield of 10 iPhones per second are being made.
Wow. All in one place. They must have a lot of employees at the mall.
But
This is just at the store at the mall that you worked in, that you managed?
yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Can you
yeah.
imagine now extrapolating that for every Apple store?
Yeah.
How many is that?
Who knows? Well, actually, the next thing I was going to read before you had all your jokes.
Muddied the water.
Yeah. Was about
Apple's
that.
not so great. That's my perspective.
So this theoretical, I forget what I took this from, but it said, let's assume that it takes 15 minutes, rounded up to 1,000 seconds, to assemble a single iPhone.
For a slave to do it?
They're not slaves.
Okay,
Tim.
no, yeah, okay. Go on.
They're happy.
Yeah, sure.
Working
Go
in the
on.
dormitories.
Keep talking.
They put up all those nets for their safety so they don't fall off the roof.
Yeah. Okay, go on.
They need 10,000 parallel pipelines, basically, in order to output 10 iPhones per second.
Wow.
A lot of phones.
Yeah. I mean, that practically forces them into inhumane conditions. It's our fault for wanting them.
It's fine. I mean, a lot. Well, I mean, it's not fine, but it's better than a lot of other factories.
Is it?
Yeah. Here's what I always think about. Like when I'm looking
But
at.
that's like me, cutting off a toe of yours and being like, well, I could have cut off your finger.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still be happy that you didn't.
Cut off your toe?
Both.
Or would you be mad that I cut off?
I'd still
use
be
all
mad.
these things.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tom, I brought it down. Okay.
Tim.
It's going to take a lot of people
Yeah.
and a lot of assembly lines to sell all the phones that they sell.
Make them and sell them.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was something that you didn't know.
Right. Do you think
Mm-hmm.
that the iPhone was the iPhone the first smartphone?
No.
What was the first smartphone?
Like
A
a
ColecoVision or something?
Probably a Palm Treo or a BlackBerry.
What's the definition of a smartphone?
It's a phone that's smart.
Well, everybody knows that.
It's a phone that can do more than just make phone calls.
Okay.
It can run applications. I would
Okay.
say that's what makes a smartphone.
You know what the
smartphone.
worst legacy of the iPhone is?
What's that?
We call everything apps now instead of just programs.
Yeah, even appetizers we call apps.
No, it creates a lot of confusion because I'm usually talking about appetizers and I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, what's your favorite apps? And people are like, Spotify.
You recently traveled to the the Apple Worldwide Developers Conference because you heard it was all about apps.
Yeah, I was like, let's see what new mozzarella stick technology they have.
Yeah, and you were very
They've developed
disappointed.
new mozzarella sticks?
Yeah.
No, this I got to see in person.
Yeah, you were like, wow, going to this conference costs this much money. Well, all the food must be on the house.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to eat my weight in food. I'm going to make these fuckers mad.
I'm just trying to make people mad by eating a lot of food.
Yeah.
That's my life's mission. Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Net on average, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the iPhone has made the world better or worse, or had no effect?
Oh, I mean, it's definitely had an effect. I would. Oh, that you know what? That's I mean, I have actually like a bunch of notes about this kind of stuff.
Okay,
Because no, I'll keep them to myself. But because
you were like, I have a lot of notes about this.
none of your business. Well, but to try and encapsulate it into is the world better or worse?
Net.
I would say, actually, here's what I would say about it. The world is in flux as a result of all this.
Right.
Like, this was such a sudden technological thing. I mean, and obviously, like, iPhone led to Android and...
Yeah, people fusing with robots. That's that's terrifying.
So whether you have an iPhone or an Android, smartphones in general, an iPhone ushered
Revolutionized smartphone technology to the point where...
every smartphone has more in common with an iPhone than anything else.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's changed everything. It's insane. I mean, it's insane I was trying to come up with like a thought exercise of like, What do you think right now would be like if no phones had come out, no smartphones?
You know what? I would like to live in that world, I think.
But what do you think? Because there would have been other, like, we would have like crazy iPods.
But like, what would the iPods do if they weren't phones connected
They'd
to
hold
the?
so many songs.
I
Tim.
know,
It'd be
and
insane.
you know what, Tom?
You would just
Music.
go buy an iPod and be like, this can hold every song ever.
Yeah, and that would be a wonderful world,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I guess we could stream.
We
every song
live
ever.
in that world now. You pay like $8 a month, $10 a
Yeah.
month to live in that
But
world.
like, honestly, do
Mm-hmm.
you think it has wreaked havoc on our attention spans
Oh,
and
absolutely.
our ability to interact with people to the point where like it has sent society into on this trajectory where like we're
point
not gonna
where-
understand you. Like even like
Mm-hmm.
you can't be forced to be in a place. Like they talk about how the internet is all like, oh well, you can just go back to your corner with the people that agree with you and just like, you know, live in the echo chamber. But then you have a portable echo chamber with you, so even when you're in line to take a piss this is the first time in my life I've ever said take a piss to use the bathroom at a bar. Like you don't even have to like interact with your
Wait,
surroundings.
did you correct yourself just in case like somebody needs to take a shit?
No, but like
I'm talking anywhere.
no, like what I'm saying is like
Yeah.
there's never a point where you can't escape into your little world, your comfortable world. And like what is this?
Oh,
Everybody
yeah.
gets a participation trophy?
Yeah.
They're my tax dollars at work?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, you talked about the subsidies, Tim.
Yeah.
What was your point? What was your question with that?
I think that's bad for
It
the
was
world. Do
just
you
a
think that's
rant.
bad for the world?
Oh, it's 100% bad.
Do you blame Steve Jobs?
No. Yeah, it's 100% bad. Like our personal attention spans and
And it's gotten me. It's gotten all of us.
yeah,
Look, I know.
you have
this,
your
this,
computer with your notes closed and the iPhone on top of it.
Yeah, well, the iPhone is just being a stopwatch at this point.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and also earlier when we were recording the ad, you you missed your cue.
I was texting
Yeah.
my fiance, Tom.
Oh, and we're supposed to be impressed.
No. Look, I know, I this thing that I carry around that was made with slave labor, is like ruining my brain, and also like making me dumber and letting like decreasing my understanding of my immediate surroundings.
Right.
But
It is-
like I'll never stop.
And it is also
It's drugs, Tom.
It
The,
is
the
also-
famous drug addict Steve Jobs has got us all hooked on mind-enhancing drugs.
it is also what 99% of people are listening to this through right now.
Yeah, but they would have listened to it on like
On a computer, get out of town.
on an iPod. You
you had to-
goon.
you had to sync it because when we started,
Well, what are we sending these cassette tapes out? Who's listening to this on their Walkman?
a lot of big people, a lot of movers and shakers, Tim,
Yeah.
they refused to move past the Walkman.
Thought leaders.
Industry moguls.
Yeah.
I mean, when we started this podcast, the iPhone was out. But we did another podcast before this when there was no iPhone. It was like, well, you're going to have to refresh iTunes, and then plug your iPod in. Make sure you have it set to sync iPod.
All right, well, that's
podcasts.
a one-time thing.
do you
Make
mean it's
sure
a
that
one-
you have it set to sync. You
Yeah,
know, like
I
you
guess.
do that one time. All you really had to do
Right.
was plug in your iPod.
Yeah,
for
I
like
mean, it was kinda
2
like-
minutes.
Yeah, it was kind of like, well, charge your iPod through your computer
Yeah,
instead of the wall.
yeah,
And then it will also
and then
sync all of your
yeah,
stuff.
like it wouldn't have been that much effort.
No.
Look, all I'm saying is I'm not grateful for anything.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, sorry. You know what? Look,
Mm-hmm.
all respect to Steve Jobs, but that guy stunk.
Why?
Because like I don't know, like he made $1 billion ruining the world. Great, congratulations.
But So you think smartphones in general have ruined the world,
Yeah.
but they've enabled so much.
What have they enabled?
Us to do this.
No, we were doing this before iPhones.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have been at this level. And to be clear, this level is the highest level, the peak.
Maybe we'd be doing this on the radio, Tom, like real professionals.
Tim, have you listened to the radio lately?
Yeah, exactly, because everybody went to podcasting. There's a big brain drain from the radio, and now the radio stinks. We've killed the radio. Thanks a lot, Steve Jobs.
Yeah. I guess Steve Jobs killed the radio star.
What else has it enabled?
People to have sex with each other, with strangers.
That was happening long before.
No, but this made it so much easier to have sex with strangers.
Okay, fair point.
What else is it enable? It's enabled
Uber, that scoundrel at Uber.
Yeah.
It allowed him to do all those
scoundreling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
scandalous things. Yeah. Oh, great.
It enabled me to not get lost as much anymore.
Yeah, but like, you know what, Tom?
What?
I would argue that you should learn how to
I would argue that I can't learn.
navigate the city that you've lived in for 20 years.
No, I'll just rely on the piece of glass in my pocket to
when
tell me.
somebody finally cuts that cord, Tom.
Were you going to say kills me and then correct it to kidnaps me and then correct it to cuts that cord?
I wasn't, but that your mind went there, Tom.
That's what it sounded like. If
When
somebody
they-
plays it back, they can hear.
When somebody goes under the ocean, where's the internet cable?
It's under the ocean.
Yeah, when somebody goes down there with their scuba gear, when James Cameron takes his thing down there and cuts the cord, you're not going to even know how to get to the subway.
Well, I'm not going to know how to get to England, but I'll still have American internet.
Okay, well, how will they cut
Which,
American
by the way,
internet?
is the best internet around, Tim. And if
Oh,
you don't like American internet, you can get the hell out of here.
Spacious skies. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's turned everybody into a
Emojis?
jerk.
We wouldn't even have emojis if it weren't for the iPhone.
Well, I don't like emojis, but I do respect people's right to use them. And the Emoji Movie looks hilarious. Is that out yet? Did that come out and flop yet?
No. But emojis were a Japanese thing. Did you know
trying to
this?
paint me as some sort of racist?
Yeah. Always. Always and forever. But
I feel like most of the show is one of
You
us
don't-
trying to back each other, drag
a
the other one into a
corner.
corner so we could call them racist.
do you know like emojis, so they're from Japan. You've had an iPhone long enough that you remember when iPhones didn't have emojis by default, and you would have to like download an app that would enable them, and then you could go into settings and turn on the emoji
I was
keyboard.
vaguely aware of that
Yeah.
process existing. However,
Because
like, if I
you
could
didn't
get
go
rid
through the
of the
trouble.
can I turn off emojis?
No, Tim.
'Cause
Why
someti-
would you want to turn off emojis?
Sometimes I'm just trying to make an exclamation point or whatever, and then I accidentally hit the emoji keyboard. Then I have to hit through 5 different screens to get back to the goddamn punctuation screen.
You can just hold down, and it'll get you to the other one.
Hold down what?
The button. But
This thing doesn't come with an instruction manual. That's what I hate.
the emojis, it was a Japanese thing, and that was why, like, when the iPhone first came out there, or it didn't come out there at first, because people were like, oh, the iPhone doesn't have emojis, it's not going to do well in Japan. So they had to incorporate emojis for Japan because they were emoji crazy.
Knocked
And
over a beer, you.
well, that you know what,
Souse.
nobody heard that, so it's fine.
We'll cut that part out too, because it's really your problem with alcohol is really getting upsetting at this point. The listener is concerned.
So the fact when iPhone started supporting emojis, that's when they got popular here, and that's why we all have emojis now. That's why I like the poop emoji is a Japanese emoji.
I hate the poop emoji so much.
Why?
That should
It's adorable. It's an
that should be-
adorable little poop.
banned from polite society.
Why?
It disgusts me every time I see it, and like
It's not.
freaking they'll tweet news stories and be like, "This happened on the news."
It's a
and
cartoon
then it'll be
poop.
Yeah, but it makes me think of real poop.
Yeah. So what?
Well, are they showing cartoon vaginas in the news.
So a vagina is poop to you, huh?
No, I'm just saying it's explicit. I was going to say dicks, but then I didn't want you to make a dick joke. And then
Tim,
you
I
accuse
would
me of being
never.
a misogynist.
Yeah.
I hate this show.
This show? Our show?
Yeah, our show.
Well, you just seem like you keep getting, you're just very fearful about being packed into a corner.
I am.
Maybe if you just relax a little bit,
Can't
I could
relax. I
back you
can't
into a corner.
See, right there. You said it. You explicitly said it.
Yeah. Jeez, Tim, just relax. Why aren't you a relaxed guy?
I think this
I
show
got you into
gives
a
me
relaxed corner.
a lot of anxiety.
Well, you and everybody else.
Yeah.
If you like the show, you can check out more at tcgt.com. You can follow our Reddit at tcgt.reddit.com. You can follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/complete guide. You can follow us on Facebook facebook.com/complete guide. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Tom Reynolds. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at your pal Tim. And you can email us at completeguideeverything@gmail.com. If you want to support the show.
Next week, we'll do Tim and Tom Solve Your Problems.
Yes.
So send in your problems.
Yes, to that
But not
email
like
address.
real problems.
Yeah, not real problems. And not, not real problems.
Send in all your real problems.
Just give us a laundry list. And you can support the show by supporting our sponsors. Also checking out tcgt.com/Amazon for all your Amazon shopping and tcgt.com/pledge for our Patreon, where you get fun bonus things like Fast Food Friday, which there's a new one now-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've gotten a little off schedule on that.
Summertime blues, huh?
Yeah. And
We'll
there
make
ain't-
good. For every week,
Yeah.
there will be one. There will
Right.
be 52 episodes this year.
Yes.
Yes.
And there ain't no
And
cure
there's
for the
never more than a
summertime
couple.
blues.
Look, go in there. It's fine.
Yeah.
You'll love it.
And you get all the back ones too.
Yeah.
tcgt.com/pledge. Tim, do you have any closing thoughts about the
I feel like
10
I came
years
off
with the iPhone?
I feel like I came off as a naysayer here. Mm-hmm. And that's not the case. I think it's good technology. I just felt like
I think it's good technology.
I feel like
think they've really done
I
something.
needed to provide a counterpoint to your shameless.
It's not shameless.
Well, you own stock in the company, and you
Yeah, but I
you
haven't
didn't
worked-
want me to disclose that earlier. You own $12 million of Apple stock, and every time I talk about how Apple's a bunch of scoundrels, you come in and you're like, well, we need to temper that. And yeah, we do.
Yeah.
They're not scoundrels. They're
Well,
good
because here's
people.
the thing, Tim. The things you say make the markets go up and down.
It's true. I have a lot of power.
Yeah, Tim's.
Well, then-
Apple scoundrel. Apple down 20 points.
Maybe
on,
you shouldn't have
the news
elected
that
me
Apple's a
president of the United
scoundrel.
States of America.
Jesus Christ, we'd be a lot better off. All right, we'll see you next week.
That was a headgum podcast.
Tim,
What?
are you doing the ad?
No, you're doing Blue Apron, you fuck.
Oh, no, you said you were doing it.
You idiot.
You said you were doing it.
Oh, did I? I did.
Yeah.
I did.
Jesus Christ.
I was texting.
Yeah, well, stop.
I'm a teen. All right. Sorry. Are we good? We're good?